Hi everyone, welcome back Divine Family. And if you're new here, I'm Sister Outspoken, transformational coach, spiritual advisor, and poetic lyricist. This channel is dedicated to assisting you with your transformational growth while receiving holistic measures and tips, and then different ways that you can enhance and deepen your spiritual practice. All right, so let's talk about it. So, today we're going to be talking about how you can keep and sustain your mental and spiritual health during the big shifts that's already happened this year and will over the next 100 and will over the next 100 years. Okay, let's talk about it. So first and foremost, we need to address the fact that we are in the age of Aquarius. I know a lot of you have heard, oh, we're in the age of information, the age of technology, and all of that. That is reference to the age of Aquarius, which means over the next 100 years, we will be affected by a heightened energy to give information, receive and apply information, and an advancement in technology. It's already happened. You can already see how Aquarius hit the ground running. We have NFT. It's a digital world. NFTs, metaverse, AI. We're here. VR. We're here, okay? Crypto. Everything is digital. The technology is moving forward. Last year I went to a robotics competition. That was huge. So it's happening, and it's going to happen rapid, and you have to keep your mental and spiritual health through it all. How do we do that? We'll talk about at the end of this video. I'll give you 7 steps that you can take this week to work with the cosmos and the shifts this week in order to be at your best over the next month. And this is something that you can continuously do if you even sense that you may be going off balance. Okay? All right, let's talk about it. So, the cosmos will always lead you into the direction that you need to go. As long as you're not fighting against it, you will be better. You will be in a better position to operate as your best self and handle the shifts, and truly be able to pivot correctly through the challenges and things that come your way. So, with that being said, March 7th, Pluto went into Aquarius. Yes, Pluto said, I'm going to show you that we're really in this age of Aquarius, and I'm moving to Aquarius. Okay? What does that mean? Pluto was the planet of transformation. It moves the energy of deaths and rebirths in your life, which means it makes you shed certain things to allow new things to come about. And at the same time, being ruled by Scorpio, it will make you deal with the deeper things and the mystical aspects of yourself that you may or may not be dealing with, and the bonds that connect in these spaces and the phases of your life. Does that sound like something that's going to always feel good? No, it's not. Shifts and new understandings do not always feel good. Have you ever heard the term growing pains? Okay. Aquarius also governs your social groups. So in these changes, in receiving new information, learning technology, you will learning what you need to share within and without yourself. It will come with changes in your friend groups as well. It will affect you in that way, because you guys may not be in the same, going down the same path. People can be receiving information for different purposes, and just not in the same space and understanding their individual genius. That's another thing. Aquarius energy is all about your individuality and your genius amongst the collective. So what makes you special? What makes you feel special? What makes you, and the key term in dealing with Aquarius is unique. What is your uniqueness, and how is that shining out? What information are you giving that is unique in how you do what you do? What information are you receiving that is feeding that, and that you can utilize in how you create within this digital world? That's the energy. So you are being, from there, being pushed to shed certain things, to be able to allow this new birth. Well, before Pluto went straight headstrong into that realization and that new reality that we are walking into, it went back a little bit. It went back into retrograde. We just got out of retrograde in October 10th. What does that mean? That means that Pluto said, hold on. I'm not going to just go forward yet. Let me back up a little bit and give you some time to really look at some things. So it backed on up into Capricorn, into a time of the focus being status quo. What achievements did you get? What is your foundation set on? And make you think about those things before it went fast forward. Okay? It's like a slingshot. It'll go back in the retrograde and then go pew. So we just went pew. And that's why I'm making this video, because you're going to feel it soon. And and the cosmos knows how to prepare you for things. We had a solar and lunar eclipse. Eclipse energy is all about shedding. It's all about the transformative energy. I think the last one was October 28th. October 27th, I felt it. The energy was so thick, it was almost itchy. I was scrubbing the walls in my house because it felt like energies was trying to get in. You have to know how to cleanse your space, cleanse your body, cleanse your aura to be ready for what's coming new, because it will shed like snakeskin. And you have to allow it. And you have to listen and the guidance of what the cosmos is telling you to do at that time. So, let's talk about where we are. Now that we've jumped forward, right? Let's talk about how this may be affecting your life and what all of this means. And then we'll go on to the next couple big shifts and then what we can do and exercises, right? Okay. So, the last time Pluto went into Aquarius, there was a few big things that happened over that century, and most of it happened in the beginning of the Aquarius going in. Within a few years, Aquarius of Pluto going into Aquarius. After those couple years, things happened. Okay, so first and foremost, let's talk about the American Revolution. America created itself, broke off from Britain, right? A couple years after that, they utilized their new information of the world to input and be a part of the biggest slave trade industry ever known on Earth, right? So that happened when Pluto went into Aquarius. And then what also happened is the 2 year, I think it was 2 years, we went into Pluto 1778. Scientists that study the development and evolution of human consciousness says that we evolved starting the year 1781, if I'm not mistaken, and that we've evolved from 7-center beings to 9-center beings. And it is this theory that is one of the aspects based on within the human design system of self-development and self-understanding that we'll talk about another time. But the last time Pluto went into Aquarius, revolutions and world industries changed. Scientists said we evolved. Big things popping. That's all I'm gonna say. And we're here again. So, what can this look like on a positive and negative? I want to start with the negative. I always like to start with the bad and end with the good, right? On a negative, you have people utilizing this new information and they're scamming. People are stealing people's pages online and stalking and just doing all of this little stuff, right? It's only going to get the negative aspect of people who are lost and don't know what to do with purpose and information are going to keep going. Whatever they even utilize their AIs for, whatever they utilize anything for, is going to be scammy, it's going to be a taking energy, it's going to be disruptive and destructive, right? But on the flip side, people got wealthy within the last few years, learning digital currency, getting in early. People are are really jumping out the bag with these NFTs and things of that nature, utilizing the AIs for their business and working and having it be a tool to work for them and not waiting for someone to make something that's going to control them. So there's ways to look at this. Our phones have become practically I like how 19 Keys says, he calls it like a chip. We already been chipped by just having a phone all the time. And what I like to talk to people about all the time is spending time away from your phone. Not just so you're not being tracked, but so you're not being always attached to that level of radiation and to that energy and that control. Because you have to have control. You have to be able to understand where you're at with your mental and spiritual health. And we'll get into the next shift because the cosmos will tell you where to focus in order to be empowered during times and shifts, right? I know some people just got fidgety and felt weird about even the thought of being away from their phone. And that's why that's part of the reason I'm throwing these retreats. So you can feel that feeling of not being worried about your phone for a while. Don't worry, people still take pictures of you. But those are that's the energy that you need to be empowered. You need to know what it feels like to be in nature, to be outside, to be in the world, the real world, and dealing with life and living in life, not on here. If you can't do that, that means you have an addiction, which is a mental health challenge. And it has to be addressed. Okay? So let's go on to the next shift because the cosmos is already going to tell you how to handle things. All you have to do is pay attention. Right after Pluto went into Aquarius, Saturn went into Pisces. What does that mean? The next era that we're going into, the next age, is the age of Pisces. So that's unlimited imagination and advanced spirit, and an advancement of spirituality, the deepest depth, right? So anyone right now who is operating in receiving and giving information and spiritual depth, you're ahead of your time, or you are with the times, I should say. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to do and being godly guided in your godliness, right? So the cosmos says to discipline in your spiritual practice and how you create. That's what Pisces is. And understanding where you're at mentally, because when Pisces is operating on its dark aspect, it's delusional, it's in his head to the point to where it doesn't even do anything, just illusions, just daydreaming and not getting things done. So you have to make sure you're doing the things that keep you focused, that keep you balanced holistically, and practicing with your spirit the wellness of your being. Well-being is most important. Because what I'd say to my clients, when it comes to the body and the mind working with the spirit, when you're doing spiritual work and you're working on the being, everything else will fall in place. Because in order to work on the being, you have to work on the mind. You have to be able to learn to silence it, to understand it, to hear in spirit, to understand your conscious state of being and the person that you are, that is inhabiting this body, having this experience and not being the body. When you get caught up being the body, which is the shell, then you're always searching for power and energy and something to fill you up inside. But a true powerful person, it lives within and then expands outwardly. And that's how you help yourself operate in certain values and principles and not be one of those people who are out here doing anything for power. Because that's the difference. People talk a lot about power and it being positive or negative. The only positive and negative is what's inside of you. If you don't wake up feeling like it's power within you, then you're operating on the dark side. You're operating on the devilish, more what they will call more devilish side of things, because you're empty. So you're looking to take whatever you can find to fill yourself up. It's not about what's around you, right? Rather, if you have $1 million, $1,000, wherever you at in life, you have a taking mentality because you feel empty inside. Whereas somebody who wake up and they feel powerful, but their outsides may or may not match the inside, then it's like, how do I get my energy out there? You know, how do I get this to expand? You know, how do I give? What can attract to that level of giving? What does that power really look like? You know, how is that contagious? That's a different level of power. That's something else that you're looking for. And if you are not working on the being well, your well-being, then you're becoming a shell of yourself. And the future will either have highly evolved spiritual beings, godly beings, or you will be functional zombies. One or the other, returning into gods or zombies. There isn't the in-between, the gray area will no longer exist. Being in the gray area, it's time to choose sides. That's what's happening right now. Are you going to go on the side of the functional zombie or get godly? Period. And the cosmos will show you how to do that. And people like me and people that get up here and give you this information will assist you in doing that. But this is the drinking the water time. It's up to you to drink the water and apply. All right? So let's talk about it. Disciplining in your spiritual practice. What does that look like? That'll look different for different people. I'll give you an exercise for it, specifically for some things that we're going to talk about. But when it comes to just everyday disciplining, you hear that water in the background right now? That's a part of the discipline of my spiritual practice and my psychological state of being. Water running. Water is of the emotions and of the spirit and of the body. That water running is a holistic regimen of my mental, spiritual, and physical health. It being in my altar space is also me running water consistently to have a consistent connection with the spiritual realm. And make sure that my ancestors know they can always run and flow through here. Okay? Drinking water. I know they're like, well, drinking water or a spiritual practice? Yes. Because you feed your spirit by feeding it what is of it. When you wake up in the morning, early in the morning, which we will talk about a full regimen in a second, because I'm going to give you a 7-step. But right now is a basic for any day. Okay? When you wake up in the morning, journal. As soon as you wake up, write down the last thing you can remember in your dream. I know some people are saying, I don't dream. And Once you start trying to remember, you will start to remember. I'm sorry, I look like I'm looking at two different places. I'm looking at the screen and then the camera actual thing. I'm still learning this stuff, you guys. Yeah. And then if you wrote down your dreams or not, then you just go to a quiet space within yourself. It's going to flutter for a while, but you breathe, practice breathing. The breath is spiritual. The breath is the omnipresence of spirit. It feeds all of your body and your organs, right? So you're going to take a breath, and then you're going to ask spirit, talk to me. And then you are going to, without any barriers, write down anything that pops up in your mind. Just write. Just write until you're done writing. Anything that just pops up in your mind. And what'll happen over time is you'll realize, because this is the practice of clairaudience. We'll talk about all the psychic senses another time. But this is an example of clairaudience. Learning to hear spirit. Sometimes just shut up and listen, you know? And you learn to understand what you're creating and bringing up from your own personality and data in your DNA, you know, of your consciousness. And then the divine consciousness that speaks to you, but you know to be God. And then sometimes you may have ancestors visiting you, spirit guides, and you'll be able to tell the difference and receive these messages. And look over it throughout your journal and be able to tell and really receive. That is the most potent spiritual routine you can start off doing. We'll talk about altar work and other things another time, but that alone will enhance your spiritual practice and help with your mental health. Seeing your thoughts and seeing what spirit is telling you about your day-to-day life. Seeing what the ancestors are telling you and how they communicate with you. And practicing clearing your mind and allowing wisdom. It's not easy. People think being spiritual is easy. It's not. That's really for atheists, people who don't believe in anything. Those are the people who have it easy. They just stamp the word spiritual on it. They're not spiritual. They're atheists. Being spiritual and being practiced in it is an actual religion. Like we say we spiritual, not religious, but it's a religion if you're doing it right, you know.